What is up, guys? So we are going to be taking a look at this thing in today's video. What is this, you might ask? Well, this is a Dell Inspiron 9100, otherwise known as one of the most ridiculous laptops Dell has ever made. At least, ones that I know of. Pretty much, this took your typical, Inspiron design of the early 2000s, such as this. This is a Dell Inspiron 8600, and basically they took that and they went, okay, we need to make a notebook that is just completely ridiculous. We're going to make a desktop replacement style workstation. Well, it's not really a workstation, but anyway, we're going to make a high-end desktop replacement notebook. And you know how we do that in the mid-2000s or the early 2000s? We shoehorn a desktop Pentium 4 into it. And so, again, here is your standard Dell. This is a Dell Inspiron 8600. That's the thickness of that. So pretty much they took this same case design and they added like a solid inch to it. And so this is not an expansion bay. This is literally part of the case. This thing is absolutely freaking ridiculously huge. The back illustrates it the best, I feel. This thing is absolutely ridiculous. And yes, as I mentioned, it does have a desktop grade Pentium 4. Not a mobile. This is a legit desktop Pentium 4. And of course, obviously, being that it needs a lot of cooling, so that's why this thing is so friggin' thick. This thing is not only very thick, but it's very heavy. And exactly how heavy? Well, we are going to find out. As you can see, I have a scale handy, and we are going to slap this thing on there and see how heavy it is. I'm estimating it's going to be between 10 and 12 pounds, but we're going to find out right now. So I'll actually put it this way. It is 9.2 pounds, and let me go ahead and set it this way as well. Yep, same thing. So I'm getting 9.2 pounds. I thought it was going to be a little bit heavier than that, but regardless, that is very heavy for a laptop. And yeah, I actually got this from a friend of mine. He was selling it, and I purchased it from him just because I thought it was absolutely friggin' ridiculous, which it is. And yeah, so here it is. It's in pretty decent shape. It is missing one of the covers for the fans, but that also does kind of allow me to show you the ridiculous cooling capacity. So there, that is one of the heat sinks, and you can see just how thick it is. It pretty much uses up the entire thickness of the laptop. And yeah, there is a battery. Of course, this thing was not known for having good battery life because, Pentium 4. The Pentium 4 was a horrible chip, but it was hot shit back in the day. As you can see, we're pretty good in terms of ports on this thing. We have 4 USB ports if you count this. This is actually for one of the Dell external drives, but it also does function as a normal USB port. We have Ethernet and 56K modem. We have dual link DVI and VGA and S-Video, so that's pretty crazy. There really aren't any ports on the side of the laptop. We just have, besides, of course, your FireWire, your PC card slot, and your audio ports. We do have a DVD ROM drive there. You can just see just how ridiculously small it looks inside this casing. Obviously, but going back to the 8600, you can see just how much of a difference there is there. But yeah, let's go ahead and open her up, and we'll continue from there. So as you can see, this thing just looks completely ridiculous. And there you go. Of course, very similar, of course, inside it's pretty much exactly the same as this 8600, just, of course, with the added black casing. So let's go ahead and boot this bad boy up. Go ahead and plug her in for you. Of course, the battery does not work anymore, so that's kind of why I had to do that. Let's go ahead and boot her up. So, like I was saying earlier, this was intended to be a high-end desktop replacement notebook, and as of course it was not cheap back in the day. I believe this thing went for about $2,800, and it was quite high-end for the time, of course. It does have the high-resolution 1920 by 1200 display, so that's cool. Of course, this is before, we had like backlit keyboards and other fun stuff like that, but again, pretty high-end for the time. And, obviously, I'm no stranger to having a collection of laptops, as you guys may be able to see down there briefly, and that's just one shelf. So I had to have this thing for my collection. Of course, we were running Windows XP because that's the only appropriate OS for this thing, I feel. It also does have an ATI GPU. I believe it's a 9700, but we're going to check right now. Yeah, it's an ATI Mobility Radeon 9700, and I believe that has, I think 250, or actually I'm not too sure, 64 megabytes. Okay, that's not amazing, but for 2003 I guess it was pretty good. And yeah, you can see just how small everything is on this display. It's kind of hard to grasp. I will go ahead and get an iPhone for comparison's sake. So here's my iPhone next to the display, and you can see just how small the taskbar and stuff is. So pretty ridiculous. But anyway, I don't have anything installed on here. I believe this is just a clean install Windows XP Pro, and yeah, Service Pack 3. Okay, so it's a 2.8. That's what I thought. So it's a 2.8 gigahertz desktop Pentium 4. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's quite small. But and then I also have 1.25 gigs of RAM in it. It had a gig when I got it, and I decided to throw an extra 256 in there because that's all I had. And Windows XP is now so old that even though I'm connected to the internet, if I try to, you know, jump on IE6, it just, you know, does not happen. And not only that, IE6 is so useless now that it can't even load the Mozilla download website for Firefox. So if I wanted a web browser on here, I'd have to side load it, which I haven't done yet. So unfortunately, I cannot show you the internet. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really have anything, again, on the software side of it, but I just wanted to show you guys this ridiculous laptop. And so I will go ahead and shut her down. So there you go. Anyway, oh, and by the way, the speakers are actually quite good in this machine because it does have a subwoofer in the bottom. So yeah, anyway, thank you guys for watching the video on this ridiculous machine. Sorry I couldn't really do more with it. I just wanted to kind of show you guys it in person. Well, not in person, but you know what I mean. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.